sing along. Thank you and welcome.
Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Fayetteville. I should address the masks. We don't, if you're new, we don't mask up every Sunday, but from last Sunday, there were some people who apparently were contagious and didn't know it with the latest strain of COVID, Stratus, I believe is the name of it. And it's, thankfully the newer strains of COVID often aren't as dangerous, but for some people they still can be extremely dangerous, and nobody wants even the mild version. So out of an abundance of caution, if you're a member or a regular attender, you should have gotten an email yesterday kind of giving you a heads up. If you just walked in, sorry, we do have masks in the foyer and on the table back here. Up to you, and I see you're already kind of spacing, or maybe just shy. But our numbers are a bit down, like maybe half this Sunday. And I'm sure more than usual people are joining us online. So hopefully you are, and so good to see you. Among those who's not here is our AV person, David Thurstonson. So Dane stepped in, thank you Dane, and is covering AV. So appreciate it, and some other people have stepped up and filled positions. So we're glad you're here. We do, out of an abundance of caution, we want to, as Barney Fife would say, nip it in the bud. We want to nip it. It's our whole region. Our whole state and even the whole region of this country is experiencing a surge. Probably everybody going back to school hasn't helped, but hopefully it will pass through and we'll all be okay. But we are very glad you're here. If it is your first time or even your second time and you were too shy to do it the first time, if you want to fill one of these out, we like to get you on our email list. You can drop these in the offering basket later. We will have joys and concerns later. If there's something you want shared, you can write it on this card and bring it up at that time. People on Facebook can write it in the comments, although it will be public, just so you're aware of that. With the cards, you can mark, if you don't want it read, you just want the leaders to know about a situation. There's a place there, would you like shared? So check no if you don't want it shared. Let's see, hearing assistance. You know how to do, Dane has got that covered, so if you need hearing assistance, he can help you with that. Children, always welcome in our service, also welcome in the nursery downstairs. If they or you would prefer that, remember to silence your cell phones. It's good to have Renée back with us. Been traveling, and she had a whole experience this week also, which ask her about it, but glad that she is back safe and sound to lead us today in our service, talking about hymns. Music is so powerful, and my mom has Alzheimer's, but I tell you what, she remembers all the songs from her childhood, her hymns from church, and so forth, and she knows all the verses. It's amazing. She other things she doesn't remember. But we're going to be talking about the power of music and specifically the hymns that we sing and the meaning behind a lot of those words. And Fawn is going to light the chalice for us. There we are. Thank you, Fawn.
If you would like, please say the words on the screen along with me. Love is the spirit of this community, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and truth, and to help one another. Thus do we covenant together.
Thank you, Vaughn. Thank you, Jean. Good morning, dear ones. I'm so happy to be back with you. Jory picked an awesome hymn for our gathering music this morning. Here we have gathered side by side. Circle of kinship, come and step inside. May all who seek here find a kindly word. May all who speak here feel they have been heard. Aren't those great words? Before we get started today, please do grab a gray hymnal. You will want access to this, and let me know if you don't have access to one. And I'm going to forget to thank everybody who's helping with the service today. I had 2 days to prep the service, and because our person that was supposed to speak did come down with the Rona. And so I am so happy to be here and very grateful to my son Thomas, to Jory, to Leanda, to Jean, to Dane, to Fawn, to everyone that's also helping with this service today. I couldn't do it without you. I missed you. And I'm really happy to be home. My van broke down twice on this tour. It was the worst tour of my life. I was happy to make music, happy to go out and make music, but definitely the worst tour of my life. But even then, I'm speaking to you about music today, and it's my most favorite topic. Specifically, and even better, our UU music. Before we get all the way started, we're already started. Why did I say that? I want to define for you a couple of terms, and you may already know them. The first one is hymnody. And hymnody is just like the subject of hymns, right? Hymn singing, hymn writing, or like a group of hymns from a particular time or a place or a church. It is that which hymnology studies. And then the next one is ecclesial, and it means like of the church. And I'll be using the phrase ecclesial understanding, which means like an understanding from a church perspective. We are not a typical church here. We do not have, we are a pluralist church where all faiths or non-faiths are welcome. And originally for this service, I had planned less history and more singing. But with the rise in COVID, I changed it up. So this is not your typical hymn sing, more like a service with a couple of extra songs. We Unitarian Universalists, we don't have sacred books. All books are sacred. Maybe that one book of Mary Oliver poetry on your shelf at home. I'm just kidding. But for real, the closest thing that we have to a sacred book is our hymnal. And I do truly believe that you can look in any hymnal across the centuries or hymn book and get a theological or at least ecclesial understanding of a religious movement in a particular moment in history. Even for we UUs not holding one book or text more sacred, our hymnals have acted like sacred scripture. Frankly, they serve as proselytization tools. Not that we're proselytizers, because we're not, but they serve as proselytization tools to our visitors for our congregations. The front of Singing the Living Tradition, or commonly referred to as the Gray Hymnal, it holds our principles and our sources, which are very important theological and historic parts of UUism and how we define ourselves as a religious practice. And I got to read the first part of the preface to you. Let me first say that this hymnal came out in 1993. I was 20. Okay, everyone have a gray hymnal? Please turn to the preface at the beginning. It's after the table of contents. It says preface at the top. Okay, so the preface in the Unitarian hymnals, they're all really important. They're great. It's not like preface in other hymnals, but our UU prefaces are fantastic. So the first couple of paragraphs say this: though the pages of the hymn book are being bound in the 20th century, they will open into the 21st. That realization permeated our work, for these will be simultaneously the last words of one era and the first words of the next. We remember the phrase of our predecessors: religion is a present reality. It is also an inheritance. Or to use a more current expression, a living faith must have both roots and wings. A hymn book is one place where we find both. Our living tradition began the 20th century primarily as a liberal Christianity, Christianity among Unitarians and Universalists, and ends that same century also embracing the riches of humanism, feminism, mysticism, natural theism, the Jewish tradition, and many other world faith traditions, and the skepticism generated by this century's disillusioning woes and wars. Within this thicket of diversity and doubt, the Hymn Book Resources Commission, with the help of many, sought to express the center and edges of our living tradition. The center and the edges of our, I love that. We found a wealth of music and poetry, wisdom and beauty, from which we made a good and useful selection. I love it so much. I'll stop there. It's just tremendous insight. It is tremendous insight. The prefaces of our hymnals have been serving as introductions to UUism for visitors for over 200 years. I would heartily encourage you to read the full preface of this hymnal someday. It's great. The whole thing is great. The preface in the old hymnal is great. The preface in the new hymnal is great. Our UU hymnals also serve as a theological content tool for understanding UUism, simply because the body of work of the hymns themselves. Not to mention the crazy good poetry. At the back of our hymnal, there's poetry and prose. And that's different. It's not in a lot of hymnals, not in hardly any hymnals. The lyrics, the poetry, hymn texts, and variety of musical traditions from whence the hymn tunes are drawn paint a gorgeous, rich picture of our common beliefs and values. Unitarians and Universalists began compiling music together way before we joined to become Unitarian Universalists. And our music was one of the big things that made the Christians criticize us. We didn't want to sing psalms, boring old psalms. So we didn't. We sang poetry. We sang poetry. You heard in the preface that we were considered a Christian denomination until somewhere in the 1900s, when we let go of Christianity as our main sense of theology and turned more to humanism or spiritual seeker or science or earth-centered or pluralism. UUism today is a religion, not a denomination of Christianity. Ooh, I could go on and on about this. I could go on and on about the history part, and I will at a later time. But today I want to talk with you, and I want to sing with you some of the epic and diverse tunes in our hymnal and talk just a little bit about those hymns. We will start out today with hymn number 20, Be Thou My Vision. Go ahead and open your hymnals to number 20. I'm starting with this one because it's one of the oldest. It's one of the oldest hymns in our book. The poem is traced back to the 6th century. It is a traditional Irish poem, but some attribute it to Saint Delane. And it was in the Gaelic, Rop to me willa. Rop to me willa. It's, totally Gaelic. This Irish scholar named Mary Byrne translated it at the top of the 1900s, and then an early Unitarian adapted it for a more reasonable UU theology in the 1920s. And even though this is a favorite hymn of many, there is a problematic issue with the tune. The tune dates back to the time of St. Patrick. And the tune is called Slain. It is named after Slain Hill, where St. Patrick supposedly set fire to a place where pagan festivals happened. Many hymns are problematic, just like many pop songs are problematic. Do you know this song? If you know it, sing it with me. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. You know it. You love it too, right? It's R. Kelly. It's horrible. But it's a great song. Talk about problematic. At what point, though, then this is a deeper subject that I could talk about for a long time. At what point, though, do we allow the music to stand alone? How do we get to that place where the music stands on its own and isn't attached to a human? There are only 12 notes in our Western scale, but when they come together, they create something that is its own. We could go so deep here. But just think about it. When do we allow music to stand on its own? And we don't know if St. Patrick actually did set fire to the festival site. That is lore. Anyway, if you're able, let's go ahead and rise as you can, and let's sing number 20. Now I've got I Believe I Can Fly stuck in my head, which is not where I wanted to be. Okay, listen to this tune right quick. Whoop. This is so old, and it's so simple. Why did it stand the test of time? I don't know. Let's sing it. Here we go. Be thou my vision, O God of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best thought by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence abide. Be thou my wisdom, and thou my true word. I ever with thee, and thou with me, God. Thou my soul's last verse. Riches I heed not, nor earthly praise. Thou my inheritance, thou unknown ways. Thou art the only person my heart, sovereign of heaven, my treasure thou. You may be seated. And still it's problematic. Like, do we ever say sovereign of heaven in this congregation? No. But even adapted, this is it's a very, very old poem. And thanks for singing it. Okay. All right, joys and concerns. Go ahead and fill out your yellow cards. Now is the time for our joys and concerns. This is a beloved ritual in this congregation. If you are with us on Facebook today, hello! And you are welcome to type your joys, concerns, or milestones into the chat. Just know that they'll be... Did you already say all that? You already said all that. Just know that they'll be public. And I'm looking forward to receiving your yellow joys or concerns cards today. Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection. A spiritual community where we find meaning. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, and a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We take this moment to reflect on our joys, milestones, and sorrows, and acknowledge the beautiful support of this community. If you would like, you may come forward and release a stone in the water by Jean. And if you filled out a yellow joys or concerns card, you may bring it up to me. Okay, you may come forward. Jory, will you offer us some music? was so pretty, so pretty. The ones that checked that you did not want this shared, just know that I got them. I got them. This, now ordinarily I would say, let's breathe deeply together, but I'm not going to say, we're not going to do any breathing exercises right now, being that, it's a slightly COVID-y time. But let's just take a moment and remember those cards that I've read today, and remember who was named, and remember who was not. And let's take a moment of silence in our hearts. When talking about the spirit of life, hymn number 123, you know what, I didn't put this in my notes, but for those of you that are new, Spirit of Life is sort of our anthem. It's like a big UU anthem, and people sing it at special times. I've sung it by a hospice bed 1,000,000 times, and as a lullaby for young ones, and it's a very, very, very popular UU hymn. And it's almost always talked about positively. But there's this UU minister named Kimberly Debus who has a website where she comments on every single hymn. It was like a practice for her. She comments on every single hymn in both our hymnals. I'm sure she'll do the new hymnal too. And I just want to straight up quote her, what she said about Spirit of Life. She speaks to the good and the bad of this hymn so very, very, very well. I just want to share it with y'all. Here she goes. There are some who consider this to be the UU hymn. It is perhaps the best well-known of the insider songs, used throughout the denomination as an invocation, a sung response to joys and concerns. That's what we're about to do. And a hymn of meditation, even a song of welcome to new members. But I'm not so sure we're using it right. Carolyn McDade purposely wrote this song as a personal prayer. In a 2007 interview with UU World, McDade reflects with contributing editor Kimberly French on the initiating event, a meeting for Central American solidarity. That's what inspired this song. What she remembers most clearly was the feeling she had. When I got to Pat's house, her friend, when I got to Pat's house, I told her, I feel like a piece of dried cardboard that's lain in the attic for years. Just open wide the door and I'll be dust. I was tired. Not with my community, but with the world. And so she just sat with me, and I loved her for sitting with me. McDade then drove to her own home in Newtonville. I walked through the house in my dark, found my piano, and that was my prayer. May I not drop out. It was not written, but prayed. I knew more than anything that I wanted to continue in faith with the movement. And thus this prayer was written, a request for support, for rest, for renewal, for perspective. Not, as it happens, a declaration of theology. Because as a declaration of theology, it stinks. It's incredibly self-serving, individualistic, and narrowly focused. As a prayer, it's clear and focused and perfect for its intention, but it should never have become the song. Here are the lyrics. Look at them as though you are reading a statement of belief. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. See what I mean? Great, and again, this is still Kimberly Debus's words. Great lines, focus on compassion and justice, inclusive name of some which some folks call God, but it's all me, 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 me. I recall a conversation with fellow Unionite Ranwa Hamani about this, where we wondered, what happens if you make it a collective prayer? Spirit of life, come unto us. Sing in our hearts all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold us close. Wings set us free. Spirit of life, come to us. Come to us. Still, not a theology, but a beautiful communal prayer. And maybe on the right path, shifting from the individual to the beloved community, a struggle we've been having for our entire freaking existence. And maybe praying for us instead of me will help us get out of our own way. As Nancy McDonald Ladd described at General Assembly a few years ago, we must stop focusing on the fake fights we waste our time on. As others struggle against injustice, instead, we should be focused on the real struggles and the real battles, and not confined by the smallness of our loving. She said, the world does not need another place where like-minded liberals hang out and fight about who's in charge. We need to lean into the real fights of our age. And we cannot do that holy work together unless we are really willing to set aside our own need to win and reach out our hands and seek the deeper understanding that comes with difference. Spirit of life, come to us, come to us. Now, you may keep your seats. And this isn't in my notes, but I just have to say, I see on some of your faces, I'm not hating on this song. I love this song. This song, I sung this song when my kids were small. I mean, I love this song. But it's important to look as deeply as we can. It's not our theology. It's just a beautiful song. So, with that, 10 years ago, I wrote this out with jazz chords. And so, yeah, I'm excited to do that again with you today. Okay. Let's just sing it. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rising the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Now let's do it with the plural. Let's talk about each other and say, come to us. Spirit of life, come unto us. Sing in our hearts rhyme as well, but it's nice. It rhymes with justice. You're right. You're right. That's true. Oh, that was pretty. And we can see by just the tone and, you know, the tune and the words why this became such a beloved song. And it's strictly Unitarian. No other folks use it, and I love that about it too. Okay. Now this is what I'm going to need. What does it take for a hymn to become a classic? What's it take to be a favorite? How long does it take? What might be one of your favorites, I might not like. What might be one of my favorites, you might not like. Sometimes a hymn becomes more than just a song for worship. Hymns are for corporate worship, like what we're doing right now, yes. To be sung by many at once, yes, yes, for sure. But I've learned that hymns are also really personal. Hymns are sung at protests. They are sometimes sung like prayers when we're all alone. Especially in a faith like ours where prayer isn't what you would call traditional. Sometimes at the dinner table for gratitude. Sometimes as lullabies for restless little ones. He's almost 29 now. I can't really call him a little one, but I used to sing lullabies to him. Yes, I did. Hymns are very often sung at the deathbed. Music is a part of my everyday vernacular, probably yours too. And so in my ministry, I use hymns in pastoral care. The next hymn, this one that we're about to do, is one of those. I use this often when folks are sitting on my couch, especially if there's a lot of anxiety. I would call Sarah Dan Jones' song, Meditation on Breathing, I would call it a new classic, a new favorite. Sarah Dan says that this piece has taken on a life of its own and is used all over the place. She wrote it the day after 9/11 as a personal prayer, just like Spirit of Life. I mean, not the Spirit, you know what I mean. It was written as a personal prayer like Spirit of Life. But since, it has gone all over the place. So I want to teach you this. This has 3 parts. You'll want your teal hymnal. Some of you are such good students. You already have your teal hymnals out, yes. This is number 1009 in the teal hymnal. And if I could get Jean, Thomas, and Jory to come up. So there's 3 parts. And what I'm going to want from you is to figure out if you sing low, mid, or high. If you sing low, you'll be with Jean. Now, and this part is going to seem easy because it's just one note, but it's literally the foundation. Literally, it's the bass part, right? And the mids will be with Jory, and the high singers will be with Thomas. I mean, in whatever octave you want. You know, you can sing it up here, you can sing it down here. I mean, like whatever octave feels good. Okay, so we're just going to teach the foundation part. All right. Breathe, bump, there's a note. Okay. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Got it? Okay, I know, it's pretty easy. I know, it's pretty easy. I'm sorry. I know. It is good. Okay, so Lowe's, I want you to stay on that. And then let's the rest of us jump to the main chant. Let's start it again. Let's just start it out with the foundation. Breathe in, breathe out. One more time. Breathe in. Here's the main chant. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love again. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. And then the high part goes, when I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. In, I'll breathe in peace. When out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Okay, highs drop out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out. Now back to the foundation. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Oh. It's so pretty. See why I love this and why I use it in my office so much? Okay, this is such a great song. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You might be seated. Oh, that was great. Jean, you want to give us the offering? And then, yeah.
Because of gifts people gave, in most cases long before we were here. In fact, before some of us were alive. People sacrificed to buy this land, to build this building. The reason our air conditioning is on today, the reason we have a piano and a minister and a staff is because of the gifts people have given of their own free will. And so it's a privilege to participate in the offering, to give as you're able to help sustain and spread our values. So would the ushers please come up and take the offering.
Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Thank you, so I can be there virtually. Thank you for having this music service. I love it, and I love you for doing this. So,
thank you. Thank you so much for going with me on this journey today. I hope you've enjoyed learning more about our hymnals and our hymns. They mean so much to me. Y'all, I almost became a hymnologist. I was this close. I love it. UUA is putting out a third hymnal, and we are working on getting our license for it. It is state of the art. It is a virtual hymnal. Every single hymn, from the gray hymnal, the teal hymnal, and a bunch of new hymns in every single key, scored out for guitar, piano, and voice. This is no joke. Jory and I have been arranging things with chords for years, and so now they've gotten the hint, and they're going to do it for us. There's about 40 new hymns, and they're putting out new hymns every month. And it's like a subscription fee. It's like you pay, the church will pay once a month for, or not necessarily, it could be, well, anyway, it doesn't matter. But it's really neat, and it's called Sing Out Love. And it's been in the works for a decade. I can't wait to introduce you to it, and we're going to take a service and do that. And I hope you fall in love with it as much as I have. Y'all mean a lot to me. You all mean so much to me. I hope you stay well, and I hope you stay safe. Wear your mask. I love you bunches, and go in peace.
hour and learn how to get involved. And thank you all for singing and being, and stay healthy, please, and thank you.